So anyway.
Okay.
Thumb pause.
All right. And
Clappy.
yeah, no, where we're going.
Yep.
We're good. All right.
Yep. Okay. I am Clappy.
Double finger point. Look.
He's telling me to go.
That's it.
Welcome everybody to another episode of Midnight Movie Distillery.
Woo!
Yeah.
Woo!
We got some clapping going on.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah, you back there.
Woo!
Love
Yes,
you. Absolutely.
Yes, thank you,
And
thank you.
you?
I'll give you my autograph later.
Oh.
I'm one of your hosts, Logan Lynch.
I'm another one of your hosts, Warwick Price.
I'm a third host, Lon Black. Thanks for coming, everybody. What do we got going on today? What are our bourbons
Tonight-
and
We
movies?
got a lot going
What do we
on.
got?
Well, we'll talk about what our movies are, and then we'll
Yep.
move to the bourbons.
Okay.
So tonight we are going to be reviewing,
Wow.
matching,
Pairing? The broken?
Re-pairing, I
We're
think.
matching,
Yeah.
bourboning.
No, we're not
Sure.
matching.
Bourboning?
Bourboning.
That sounds
I
like a
think
good
that's
one.
word.
I like that one.
Okay, thanks for coming, everybody. The show's
We are
pretty much
That was a
practicing.
quick episode. Thank you.
We're practicing Nightmare on Elm Street
I think we've had a little too.
from 1984.
84.
And Christine from 1983.
3
Okay.
year before.
We also do bourbons.
We
what
do.
are our brackets for the bourbons?
So tonight we have got a couple of, to me, bourbons that I'm very curious about myself. So one of them, as opposed to one that I've been like, oh, this is my favorite bourbon, and it's going up against one that I hate the most.
I know.
Well, I didn't vote for you.
Gorge.
Now we're going for Bulleit Bourbon, which is a very common staple.
But isn't it spelled like Bulleit?
yes, it is weird.
Like, why
is
is
it
that like
Bulleit?
some British
It's
spelling?
a name. It's somebody's name. It's not,
Oh,
like,
sort of like
it's not
a
like a bullet like you shoot out of a gun.
Oh,
it's a last
someone's
name.
Like, yeah, but
That's a
it had
stupid name.
I know.
All right. Stupid, silly bullets.
Bulleit.
It's like bullocks.
It
Yeah.
is a silly
What
place.
the
Maybe,
hell a bullet?
maybe the guy that invented the bullet, his last name was Bullet, and that's why they called it that.
Mr. Bullet.
Yes.
Okay, and it's going up against
Yep.
George Dicklel.
I'm sorry, that name just makes me laugh every time I hear it.
Bullet's okay as a last name, but
funny thing
Dickel,
is-
that's where you draw the line.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dickel.
All right.
Because it reminds me of Dick Hole.
Oh, what a surprise that is.
He must have had a wonderful childhood.
Oh, Christ. I'm turning into a
Dickel,
12-year-old.
come here.
Yeah,
What do you mean turning into a 12-year-old? You've been a 12-year-old this entire show.
that is true.
Anyway.
You are not wrong.
George
what-
Dickel, 8-year
8 year.
versus Bulleit Bourbon. Bulleit Bourbon is a staple. It's everywhere. George Dickel is a little harder, however, to find, But the 8 year is a step up from your typical Dickel.
Typical Dickel. Oh, you don't hear that often.
Oh my God.
I held it in as long as I
Lord
could.
help me. But they're both, Bulleit is 25, Dickel is about 23. So this is a fair fight.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
25 and 23 what?
dollars.
Ah, okay.
As euros.
Well, no, I was
Were you
debating on
thinking
was
years?
that like some rating that he found on some website? I don't know.
okay.
I'm trying to be the
Well,
audience.
You're very good at being our audience.
The uninformed audience.
And it's funny, and you actually add up to about the number of people that are our audience.
Yeah.
We're getting there. We're getting there. Due time.
Okay, let's try some bourbon.
All right. So Bourbons.
Okay,
All right.
so first off,
Big color difference.
big color difference.
Yep, big color difference.
You can't see that if you're listening
Yes.
on
So
podcast.
one seems darker than the other. Let's put it that way. For those that
That is a very good description.
I don't know why.
Thank God you're here to explain that to me.
Oh God.
He was doing it for the audio people.
Yeah. Yes. They don't know. They should go watch this on YouTube though. But that would,
The lighter one
ah.
definitely has a stronger smell.
Would you call it the funk? That,
Not funky funk.
well, so you only use funk for Irish whiskeys, is what?
Yeah,
is what
because
we're-
they have a specific funky flavor to them that is not only
I don't smell.
unpleasant. What?
Oh, we got a reaction out of Warwick over here.
Oh my God.
Oh, he's dying on
Is that a
one of them.
bad reaction?
That's not a good reaction.
Oh.
So, Dickel.
Oh,
It's like,
sorry.
it's like
that
by
is
the
just-
Life of Brian.
Yeah.
Whenever they're in the storeroom scenes, and every time you see it, there's always either Parker. What's up with Parker? What do you got there? It's an ocarina, sir.
We're gonna make lines long capacity go down.
Give
Oh,
her a
sorry.
kiss, boy. Give her a
Give
kiss.
her a kiss. What's wrong with giving her a kiss, boy? You don't have to stampede toward the clitoris. All right.
Oh, see, I didn't mention the
Dickel is an 8-year. Bulleit Bourbon
It's
is
an
an
8-year Dickel.
Oh God. See? All right.
Bulleit
We're
is,
not going to get sponsored by Dickel.
Maybe.
Sorry.
Bulleit Bourbon is 5 to 8 years.
Okay.
So we're talking a very close age difference.
Okay. Is there? You said is the Dickel that is on the? Is there different like black label type stuff with?
Yeah, they're all
George
different.
Dickel?
There's gold
Okay.
label, there's red label.
Okay.
There's lots of different Dickels.
So do they have a pickle Dickel? I don't know. I think the alcohol is kicking in. I haven't even drank any yet. Oh.
We really should have thought about that before we added this to the list.
I think Lon knew this was coming. Pun intended.
That's what Dickel said.
I saw the Dickel coming.
Oh my
Crybabies.
God. Okay.
All right, so you guys. Okay, so first go around. We got Warwick's not too happy with
Not this
one
one.
of them.
So
How do you, have you at least had your first sip?
yeah, first
Okay.
sip on both. I don't dislike either of them.
Wow.
So far, I'm okay with both.
Oh, okay, something. Whoa.
I need some water.
That's a. Whew. Now, it's That's I've got like that type of. That's not as bad. If you check the previous episodes, that's up there with the. Oh God, what was that one? It was with the proper 12 and the other one. What was the other one? Oh, Old Granddad.
Old Granddad.
Oh, Granddad,
Oh
yeah.
God,
Bottled in bond.
it's up there with what I don't.
Really?
I'm not liking this one so far.
So
Now that's
these
one sip
were-
in.
Okay.
Smell wise, neither one of them was bothering me.
No,
that didn't bother me.
The smell isn't the problem. This one to me is like.
I like the
something going
color
on
of
with
one of them over the other one. Because one of them looks a lot richer, the other one's a little thin looking.
it. Well, so like in
So you're
that
saying a thin Dickel?
in
I
that
don't know if it's
respect,
Dickel.
the thicker Dickel.
Oh God, that like made it go back up my nose. But even still, having that happen, that is not as bad as this one.
Yes.
Now I say not as bad, and not in a bad way, just meaning
Okay.
it's not.
Okay.
I think the darker one is not as pleasurable.
Okay.
I'm in agreement on that one.
Okay. All right. Let me go 2 sips in. Actually, I think I'm 3 now.
So now is George Dickel, is that like any subsidiary
So,
of anything, or is it
George
its own thing?
Dickel,
Because I seen that
the
on my way to
brand.
Florida. I saw the, I think it was through Kentucky. I
You
saw
saw lots of Dickel.
George
it was
Dickel-
rest stops. Leave me alone.
Oh my God, train wreck this whole show.
Anywho,
It is a popular brand. Some of the higher brands, some of the higher quality brands are up there in best of bourbons all the time.
okay.
So Dickel as a brand is pretty popular. I was going to say it was pretty big, but I didn't want to say it's a big Dickel.
I love how you caught yourself. I
did.
had a
I
feeling
was
you
going
were
to say
going
they're pretty big, and everybody loves a big Dickel.
Yeah, they do.
But they're popular. Some of the Dickels are very, very popular. But we are
So the
we're on the
wait,
lower end of Dickel.
was the Dickel the 8-year? Did we say? I'm sorry.
They're both. So
Well,
bourbon
one's 5 to 8 though.
bourbon
Right?
is 5 to 8.
A Bulleit is 5 to 8.
Bulleit is 5 to 8.
Okay. Dickel is
Typically, but they go
definitely
10-year, right? So they say that a lot of them bottled at 10. But it's a blended strength, so the barrels are 5 to 8 years typically.
Sure.
And they range in proof too. I didn't double check what proof are on here, but I don't think this is a 10-year Bulleit. I think we've got more of the 8-year Bulleit.
Okay.
Okay.
I'd have to look at the label to be sure. But
Which
having
we can't
said
look
that,
at just yet.
having said that, with the Dickel brands, the Dickel, obviously we know this is an 8-year because that's what they say it is. It's an 8-year. But some of the other Dickels are very, very big. Like it's always on award lists.
So is it hard to get your hands around any of these?
I was expecting you to honestly go with, if you love the taste, you'd love to get your lips around a good Dickel, but
If this is Dickel, I'm a fan.
Well, we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out if Logan loves Dickel.
He does like a good Dickel.
Yeah. Yeah, this one I'm... Okay, I'm going to do a rinse out here. Oh, shit.
Really? There's one that I gotta say is not as pleasant as the other.
No,
one.
I'm just doing a rinse out so that this doesn't affect it.
But I don't hate either of these two like you guys are
God,
reacting.
I'm not a fan of the darker one. But like, whoa! We got a full reaction.
That was a full-on twitch.
Oh my god, that was like a.
Oh god, that was
So you
projectile
guys
vomit.
are not liking the darker of the two.
The darker is not.
I
Now, would that mean that it's been possibly in the barrel longer? Then?
Quite possibly, or it was charred in better barrels that were charred better
Okay.
than some of the other ones. But
I don't know. It just it has a kick to it that's just like.
I'm liking the darker one better. Oh, sorry about that.
Wow,
I just palmed full on whacked
Sure.
that mic. Sorry, guys. We're new to this. I've never done a podcast before.
Nope. So okay, so let's maybe start moving on to our choices here.
Yeah.
Who wants to go first? Anybody?
I'm not decided yet.
I'll go first.
Let's have it.
So
I'm gonna like. switch my glasses up a little
truly,
bit.
I think every kind of retaste of this one, I get a new sense of something that I don't like about it.
This one being the darker.
The darker one. So I am going to. I don't know enough about either of them to say which one is which, but I'm definitely going to go for this one here.
Which is the lighter of the two?
The lighter of the two.
Okay. Which one is that?
And that is.
And that is B.
Okay.
Okay. And if you had to guess.
I mean, I don't know. And it was I would assume because like the Bulleit Bourbon is something that you see everywhere. It's like
It's pretty standard bourbon.
Yeah.
I would assume that this is the Bulleit Bourbon.
Mainly because it's more mainstream, so you figure the palate's a little bit more of straightforward blend.
Correct.
Okay.
So I agree with the darkness. The darker one is not the better of the two. I prefer this. I was going to go the other way and say that this was George Dickel.
What? Because it's white label.
No, it's not. It's red. It's gold labeled. This one.
Oh,
is
gold label.
And that is-
it's because it's gold.
And it's also, I picked B.
And you picked B.
But
So-
he thinks it's Bulleit. I think it's Dickel.
Wow. So you
He
both
does
picked the same
like-
one,
He does like the Dickel.
but you. Oh, it wasn't.
I know a
different.
Dickel when I see one.
So
And I'm looking at one right now.
Did you make a
So-
glory hole for the box?
Jesus Christ.
It's in the
you
bottom. No. I mean the bottom. It's
Yeah.
it's
No,
where
I
the
got
hole
you.
is.
Oh, God.
They can't hear you on the podcast.
Yeah. He's mouthing words. Like,
I
So
think he's saying, "Help me."
something.
I will say this. So after drinking them both, I liked the darker one a little bit more. Was that a yawn or surprise?
That was a
Oh,
sharp
shocker.
taken
Oh,
in of breath.
I was going to say it was more of a yawn.
But what I did was I started kind of mixing them up and not paying attention to what I'm doing. And I've drunken enough of them to where they're both pretty much the same color now. So I can't necessarily... Well, because there's less. There's a little bit left.
Sure,
I think this is the darker one, but
All right.
I'm not 100%. See, that's a nice flavor to me. You don't like that flavor.
No,
Nope.
I
Yeah.
And I don't like that flavor. I'm picking this one.
Okay, he's going.
And I have no idea which
that's
one
the
it
dark
is.
one. I can tell by the color of the other one.
A.
All right.
So we both picked B.
So B is the
So
clear
B
winner,
wins.
but we said two different things.
I don't know if this is Dickel or Bulleit.
Yeah, and I really didn't know either.
I didn't either. I just took a guess.
But B moves on,
Yes, it
Yep.
does.
even though I think it sucks compared to the other one. Okay.
On your marks.
Get set.
Dickel.
Yep.
That's Bulleit. B is Bulleit. Okay.
So Bulleit won.
I
but,
did not think I was going to be a Bulleit fan.
But apparently I like the Dickel better.
That makes a whole lot of sense.
I like a good Dickel in my mouth.
Interesting.
More
So, okay, so Bulleit we said was 5 to 8.
Yes.
And now you can see the color difference between the two.
Yeah. Well, the
So
Dickel's definitely darker.
Dickel's definitely dark.
It's got a longer shaft.
It is definitely a thicker, thicker to hold on to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Dickel's pretty good.
I'm kind of shocked though. Like I honestly would never have been able to pick these two, in a lineup in any way, shape, or form because I've never had either one of them. But
sorry, I mean, again, to what I said before, like if I was looking at a liquor store shelf and I had to pick one out of the two, I would pick the Bulleit Bourbon just purely the fact that it was a name that I knew more.
Yeah. So the standard Bulleit Bourbon is actually just required at more than 2 years.
Oh
wow.
Wow. Okay. So
that's actually
interesting.
Weird then, because it's like
it's actually smoother. I felt than the Dickel, which was
I disagree.
Totally.
I disagree. I think the Dickel is smoother.
Really.
I think the Dickel is way smoother. This is too hot and
Really?
offensive. The Dickel
the
richer.
Dickel we got, like him and I both. I mean, he jumped. I was pretty damn close to it. So
I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong or anything. That's fine. I thought the Dickel was. I mean, the Bulleit was hotter and had a little bit less of a flavor profile that I enjoyed.
Okay.
I think the Dickel was a better bourbon. It just tasted better.
Wow.
Would I buy either of these? Maybe. If somebody's serving them, I'd be happy with either, but...
Yeah, I mean, I don't think either of them are...
I would not drink the Dickel.
Really?
No.
No,
As you can see, I've had my 2 sips and I was done.
I think, like, I had a shot when I first drank this, and on my second or third one, I'm
still getting the same shock.
There's just something about it. And again, in comparison to some of the other bourbons we've had, the more expensive ones, I would definitely take those over.
Oh, of course.
Over the Bulleit. But I would drink this again.
Bulleit was 23. This was 22.
Bulleit is 25.
Oh.
Yeah.
Dickel 8-year was only 23.
Interesting.
And honestly, no, I should correct that because remember we just changed it from white label to the 8-year. So I think that was actually closer to 28. So I believe 25 and 28.
Okay. So
that's why we got that one because they were more of a comparison at price point.
But by a couple bucks.
Because of a couple bucks, really.
I could have sworn I've had Bulleit at some point in my life, and I don't. I was not being. I remember not being.
You have it here, right?
I'm a fan of Bulleit Rye.
Yeah, maybe that's where I tried it. Was here.
I usually have a bottle if I'm going to have a rye, and it's inexpensive rye and it's a decent rye. So I usually get a bourbon rye, unless I can find some of the good rye, and I not always can afford Whistle Pig. So I'll usually, if I can, I'll get Whistle Pig, right? But the Bulleit Rye is a good standard rye.
Did you see the Whistle Pig maple syrup?
Yes.
I did not.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah, I thought I texted it to you.
I think he did. Yeah, I had seen it before you sent that, but it was one of those things where I'm like, you guys would never go for that.
No, and there's an entire ad campaign.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They brought Super Trooper guys into it, and
Yeah, the Reno. What was it? Super Troopers or Reno 911?
The one I saw was Super Troopers.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, it was the Indian guy and then the.
Oh yes,
and Farva
you're right.
But that'd be smart of them to do both of them because I think the other guys for Reno 911 are all Canadian too.
Right.
So, there you go.
Anyway, so
off track. Sorry.
Let's move.
We did some movies.
What
do we want to do? Do
yes.
Oh yeah, we gotta
switch over.
Moving on over.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
So we've got
the brackets, and this one we're jumping around here. We still got some space of
some Bulleit. Moving on.
But Bulleit, I can't believe Bulleit moves on.
Yeah.
I mean, I can. It's not a bad bourbon. It's just standard to me.
Wow. Well, it. What else we got up there up top of that?
So this is Buffalo Trace versus Jack Daniels. Hardly seems fair at all. But 1792 versus Old Forester. I've never had either one of those.
Yeah, neither have I.
So I'm curious for that.
I don't think I've had Buffalo Trace unless you gave it to me. So.
Yeah, we've had Buffalo Trace here before. Well, I don't know. Maybe we didn't review it or anything, so maybe I haven't had it here. But
we did have the Buffalo Trace, the White Dog or whatever it's called, White Lightning.
Well, that's totally different.
Yeah,
totally different.
I get
but yeah, all right. So that moves on. Bulleit moves on.
Boom.
Okay.
20-minute mark. Perfect.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I was trying to get us to.
Now,
Okay, movies.
the fights. This is going to be interesting. I shouldn't say fights. Maybe we'll all be in agreement.
Yeah,
So-
you never know.
Because that never happens.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yep.
Yep.
1984.
Yep.
The amazing Wes Craven. I say amazing. It's like he had a run of movies that were amazing, and I think certainly some of his later ones, maybe not quite so much. Christine. John Carpenter, the legend. John
Stephen
Carpenter.
King story.
Stephen King story, of course.
That has a lot going for it.
Yeah.
And the thing I thought was actually really interesting about Christine on rewatching, because I have not watched Christine for a long
Same here.
time.
Same
long
here.
time.
Yep.
Is it has, and I'm not saying this really as a negative. It has a feeling of a TV movie. Just in terms
I
of
totally get that because there's no edge to it.
there's no real gory murders. There's there's like implications that shit went down.
Yep.
But you really just don't see a lot.
Agreed.
Agreed. But it's like, I loved the car. I mean, it's just I loved.
Sure.
I love the story.
Plymouth
It's like,
Fury.
I love 1959.
58.
58?
Yep.
Okay.
I think the actual car, though, that was in there was a 59. Though.
So the thing is, so that was it. So that was talked about a lot because it was at 59, but they had to make it. They wanted to make it look like a 58.
Yep.
So they actually changed any of the features that was make it a 79 to make it a 78. To me, what's the point? Why go through all that trouble for 1 year? Just say it's a 59. Just leave it as a.
Right. I'm sure even Stephen King wouldn't care.
Right.
But no, it's like what I love about that story is it's the classic high school story of the kid that is picked on, the jocks that run the school and get their comeuppance and it's like I think it's a great story. I think it's a really, really good story. Yep. The special effects I thought of the car I thought were great.
The flaming car running down the road to drive the guy, run on the guy over. That was great.
It was really good. Well, even like the damage scene,
Yeah,
like the reversal of
repairing
that,
himself.
the damage.
Yep.
I mean, I thought that was so well done, and so like I was thoroughly impressed on the rewatching.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know what to expect. Nightmare on Elm Street. I've seen that movie so many times, and I still love it. I still think it's a great movie. It created a lot of the tropes that now get copied a lot. But it's and I think that has a good story as well. A somewhat believable story.
As much as you can with a whole dream killer.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's what made it great.
Yep.
Yeah.
It
So
was a dream killer. Nobody came up with that before.
this was a harder take than I expected.
Okay, so do you want to jump in?
You go right ahead.
Okay, so you go right ahead. So again, it's been a long time since I've seen either of these two movies. So I watched Christine first, and it's a nice movie.
Wow.
Nightmare on Elm
in-depth here.
Street. When I watched it, because after a while, so like in college.
That was like 7 years ago. Anyway.
In college. So I went to school I have a degree in cinema. So I was all about horror movies back then. No. The point is, I was making
There are talkies.
I was making, fuck you. I was making my own
Charlie Chaplin was big.
Freddy Krueger masks back then because Freddy Krueger was the new thing, right? I mean, I was in high school when this one came out. But
Back then, that was the closest he got to latex. Sorry.
wow. Just
The love.
But here's the thing. I thought after a while, all the Freddy Krueger movies became all about the jokes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It was more about the one-liners and the welcome to primetime bitch. And were they great? Yeah, they were awesome because, that's what you went there for was that and to see the weird kills or unusual kills or unique kills. And it was always, Freddy Krueger became this guy.
Yeah.
But in the first movie, he was a high-pitched psychotic
Right.
guy.
And he was
Yeah.
scary.
He was genuinely scary.
Yeah.
Freddie Krueger in the later
his-
movies
his
is
time,
not
too, right?
scary.
Yeah.
He's funny. He's interesting to watch him kill, and he comes up with his taglines and "Welcome, prime time, dude." But when he's walking down and his arms start stretching in the alley, and he's giggling, you're like, "That's fucking weird, man."
Yeah.
That's weird. He
Well,
was.
and even when he runs after her.
Yeah,
too,
and
it's
he's
like
lurching.
lumbering.
And he's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
and he's like going crazy, and you're like,
Shit.
he's genuinely terrifying in the first one.
Yeah.
Because he didn't talk like a deep voiced demon.
Yeah.
He almost had a normal voice. He's had there were parts of the movie where it was deep or demon-y kind of thing. But it was genuinely scary.
Right.
I watched that whole thing with the fingers, and the whole thing where he's looking at you and is highlighting the eyes, and he cuts off his own fingers. You know, he's looking, watch this. And
Pus
then
comes
he
out, yeah.
giggles. You're like, that's terrifying.
What bothered me when I was younger, because I had seen this many moons ago, but when I first saw it, I was eating pizza, and I had just bitten the top of the pizza, and then the whole cheese kind of fell off at the same time, and that was right when
slap
she
you.
reaches up and pulls off his face, and I'm like, ah, shit.
It's
Yeah, I was like, oh my god. I was like, oh, it took me a
Wow.
while to eat not
Yep.
like just cheese pizza because
Sure.
of that. But
Sure.
but no, this was this is a tough scenario with these two movies. I think you hit the nail on the head. Christine is a fun and it's a good story for the movie. The execution was great. I lean more, which is weird because I'm not a blood and guts type of person for horror movies. But for some reason, that movie needed to be blood and guts, right?
Christine.
No, not Christine. Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh.
But Christine needed to have more blood and
Oh,
guts
yeah.
as well. So,
Yes.
so that's where. You could have added in maybe the scene where he crushes the guy, he backs away, and maybe the guy's intestines hit the
Right.
ground. He could have been
Sure.
a split second. That would have probably.
There was a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, I mean,
I
but
agree.
then I think John had mentioned in the last one that it's PG-13 for Poltergeist.
It plays
I felt
like a TV movie.
I think you mentioned that it's the TV made for
Yep.
TV type of thing. So.
Yep.
I don't know if that was the
Yep.
intention or if he was hoping that my brain was going to just kind of go that route and say, oh, yeah, maybe his blood and guts fell out. I mean, they do describe it a little later on, but it's one of those things where I'm like, I was just hoping for a little bit more gore out of Christine.
The book
so.
itself was gorier.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Because I've read the book, and the book was gorier when it describes the killing scenes.
Okay.
I think they went a little bit more for the PG route on this.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, and there isn't, really a ton in Nightmare on Elm Street, right? I mean, the beginning
there's
with
the whole
what's her name?
fountain of blood when he gets killed and
but
shoots out of the
but
bed.
you don't
and
see
stuff.
anything happen to him. It's just blood coming out
That's
of the bed.
true,
So
but it's
you know what I
a
mean?
lot
Like
of blood.
Yeah.
It's a lot of blood.
That's what I think. And then the guy gets hung, so there's not much blood there.
Sure,
You know.
But the point is, but at least you see the death.
Yes,
You do.
Yeah.
And I think that's the TV movie nature of Christine for me was the fact that like you don't really see, like, who do you see? I mean, yes,
All the bullies, they get killed. So you see they're
right.
Yeah, but like I felt like the cutaway from when he's running over the dude with the pork chops. Like I feel like he's running up to him. All of a sudden, it's just like they just show him like coming out the back end. I'm like,
Yeah.
I would have loved to see him, getting closer with the car to like right here, and his arms go up or something, and then he's rolling out the back.
Sure.
Like
Right.
I felt like I don't know, maybe he did that for the censors or something to pull that out of there.
Well, yeah, I'm sure because
But then the other bad side of that thing is, why the fuck would you run in the middle of a road? Knowing full well,
'cause you're
there's
an
a
idiot.
car chasing me.
Right.
I've got all of this grass
go
on
by
each
the
side
trees.
of me. Yeah, just.
I mean, minimally serpentine.
right.
Yeah.
Serpentine.
Or is this, as soon as it gets close, jump up. Like, I mean,
Right.
granted it's on fire, but
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, I think I would go as far as to say I think the story of Christine was probably a better story. I think the execution of the movie, and when I say the story, I don't mean the Stephen King story per se. I mean the story within the movie.
Sure.
I think was probably a little bit better than Nightmare Before
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Wow.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Wow. I don't think we have that on our list.
But it's
Didn't make it.
I just
Beetlejuice
I think it
You should not make it. Sorry.
I think it missed the mark as a horror movie.
Okay.
Christine.
Christine.
Yeah. And again, great scenes. To me, the whole thing where he's in an alley, just not wide enough for the car to fit down, and you're like,
Oh, he's safe.
oh, he's safe. And the car just starts forcing it through. Because I thought to myself, okay, that's pretty scary. That car
God,
is
yeah.
so mad at getting this guy that it's crushing itself to get in there.
Right.
That was a cool scene. Even though you never really saw the death, you just saw him kind of like, and, you know, whatever.
Right.
That was a great scene. The flaming car when it was on fire and it started chasing the guy down the road, great scene. It's like nothing is going to stop this car. I get it. That was cool. But Nightmare on Elm Street was genuinely terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first one.
And again, I
Not
think
the sequels as
I
much.
think there's a little bit of, as I said in the last movie, you know, I think there's also a little bit of you know, we're watching the movies now in 2024
Sure.
for a movie that was created 40 years ago.
Right.
And so
Wow, 40 years ago.
and so
God
you know,
damn.
some of what we might think of as being scary today, you know, in other words, it's like the feeling that I feel today watching Nightmare Before, oh my God, I want to say it again, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Twice. Dos.
Is nothing compared to how scared I was when I first watched it on VHS.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
You know,
All right.
you know. In other words, I just think that
Because it didn't hold up.
right. It just,
You've probably just become accustomed to it.
I think
right?
that's my point. The point is, it's like, but I can still look at that and in this particular example, compare it to Christine and say, I think Christine is a better story, but I don't think it's a better horror movie. I think Nightmare on Elm Street is the better horror movie. That is my pick.
I just to jump in then, I agree 100% on all counts. Just the simple fact that when I watched Nightmare Before, see, God damn you, see what you're doing?
He's got you doing it.
When I watched Nightmare on Elm Street, the first one, it to me was scarier than any of the sequels.
Oh, I agree.
The comedy was not. He's not a big jokester in this one, a clown.
It was very serious.
But it was much more serious. And, you know, even though I still think Heather Langenkamp kind of overacted, you know, that was a little bit of a drawback for me, right? A little bit of a drawback for me.
Screw your hall pass.
Right.
It's like,
oh,
God.
But ultimately, the simple fact that they took, that was a brand new idea.
Yeah.
That it was a killer that was only in your dreams. And if you die in your dream, you die for real. We've all thought that. We've all heard that before. Like if you're falling and you've never really visualized your death, because if you did, you'd actually die in real life. Scary as hell. But when he's there, cutting off his fingers, and he's more of a psychotic killer than a demon, way more entertaining.
Yeah.
Way more entertaining. Screeching down the, you know, the whole first time he did the nails down the chalkboard kind of feeling when he's running down the hall, giggling and sauntering like that. You're like, he's way scarier than the Freddy Krueger of the sequels.
And do you think that was? I think certainly in terms of let's say modern horror movies, that was like the first time I remember the trope of, oh, you know, my mom and her friends killed this guy.
Oh,
yeah.
And now he's coming back to haunt like her, their kids.
That could be the first time I can think of it offhand.
You know, it's like I don't know whether there was some like.
There was probably something back in like the 60s, I would think that there was something like that where, you know, I guess if you want to call it the trope of somebody's coming back for revenge, I mean, you could go that route, but I think that's the first time it's been in that dream state, right? Like,
it's certainly the dream state.
Yeah, that's the first time I've ever seen anything that did that, which honestly is scarier because now he had so much to play with at that point, right? You can. A dream could be, hey, am I awake or am I not? And I think he played on that quite a bit and did it masterfully. And that's one of the reasons I think that it's stuck around this long, and that's why the character, yes, became campy and became more
about
funny,
the joke.
more funny in the jokes and the the one-liners as time progressed. But he's still an icon, and it's mostly because you got to have some sort of beginning that draws people in, and that was what they thought people wanted, was the more campy stuff. They tried to go back to it with was that 2011?
The remake you're talking.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a little different, though. They try to make it a serious one again.
Yeah, and they did not do a good job. But
I didn't think that was that bad.
It's not as bad as people make it out to, but it is just,
Right, I thought it was pretty good. But
yeah, I love the idea that, you've got these two movies together. It still was not as easy as I thought. I was like, and instantly I was like, well, I love Christine, and then I'm like, God, but there's just so many more levels to Nightmare on Elm Street that I didn't say it. That's going to be my choice. Is I'm gonna stick with Nightmare on Elm Street. As much as I like Christine, I like John Carpenter. It was just like you guys had mentioned, more of a made-for-TV movie, and not up to moving on in the brackets. So that was my choice.
And to finish my thought.
Go.
Yes, I also picked Nightmare on Elm Street. I never got to
we kind of figured based on
which one I chose. But yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street is just a better movie. Yeah, but it's no big deal. But it's
like
just
with his Dickel.
Yeah.
It's just a better movie. And honestly, when you say they were kind of closer, I don't think so. I don't think Christine could have held a candle to Nightmare on Elm Street. It was just really, really terrifying watching it again, getting rid of all the jokes that he's become. It was just a better movie.
And to clarify, I think some of the other Freddy movies, they've had some scary moments in them.
Yeah.
But
mostly for gag reflex, such as, seriously.
You're talking about Dickel?
The whole thing with it was a joke and what's the most unique death we can come up with?
Yeah.
No,
So they
I
became
agree.
campy.
I really liked the comic book one in, what was that, the Dream Warriors?
Yeah, the Dream. That was 3.
Where he had the comic
with the bus at the beginning.
with Super.
Oh
Super
yeah,
Freddy.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, like that to me was good. Like they did a good job with that, I felt. But yeah.
Dream Warrior is probably my favorite sequel out of all of them.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, so I think, is this the first time we've all agreed on something?
No, we've agreed on other movies, but it's been
in
a
the
while.
brackets?
Nah, maybe not in the brackets.
I don't know. I think
this is the first where we all three, like somebody always was
You're
the
right.
outcast.
Hitcher was a fight. Motel Hell, Hellraiser was a fight. The Fly, Lost Boys was a fight.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, see, so I think this is
okay.
our first triple agreement.
For this bracket, for sure.
Yeah.
This is the first triple win or unanimous win.
Did you want to move the bracket across?
All right.
Moving on over.
Moving on over. We're way down here. We jumped way to the bottom. Christine, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Or as Warwick likes to call it,
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Give that a little bit more space here.
Yeah.
Nightmare on Elm Street takes it. Wow.
And when I hear things like, what Wes Craven described, where he came up with the idea for Freddy Krueger and the whole guy that was sitting down the street.
Tell the story. Tell the story.
Okay, so I think it's in like the director's cut, or as a documentary, he describes that there was a man that was outside of his house one day wearing a fedora, and his face looked all mangled and stuff, and he was just staring at him through the window, and he thought nothing of it. Well, then the guy actually walked up to his front door, and it scared the shit out of him, and so that's where he kind of came up with.
Wow.
And Freddy Krueger, the name was actually a bully that bullied him in school. So, so he kind of just combined a lot of things, and read an article about, I think it was in Indonesia, people were dying in their sleep, and they were afraid to fall asleep, and so then so it's amazing. If you read a little and get the shit scared out of you by some guy on the side of the street, you could
become rich and famous.
You could become, and
go back in your imagination.
Yeah. All right.
So, all right. Well, this was a nice, quick, and dirty.
It was. Although
Dirty Dickel.
We did.
We're back.
Although
to
we did split.
Yeah.
We did split on the bourbon.
Yes, we did.
We were clearly unanimous in the movie choice.
Yeah. And we picked the right one.
I think
clearly we did because we all know it.
Yep.
Yes.
There's no hesitation.
No.
So this is episode 5.
Six.
So we only have 2 left.
Okay.
Correct.
So we have An American Werewolf in London versus The Fog, which
Right.
will be a good one.
That's a good one.
Agreed.
And then Twilight Zone, the movie, and The Shining, which will be a pretty simple one. Which one's going to win that one?
Yeah, Twilight
So
Zone,
you say,
obviously.
but who knows?
Yeah. Tune in.
And then bourbon-wise on that, we do have a couple decent matchups coming
Okay.
up. We have Buffalo Trace against Jack Daniels. I certainly think I know who's going to win that one, but we've been wrong.
That's my old
before.
staple, JD.
And then two that I've never had: 1792 small batch and
Old
Old
Forester.
Forester 100 proof. Although typically when you put a high proof up against a
You're trying to cover something.
right, something's going on with that. But
Yeah.
we'll see. Old Foresters. There's people who love Old Forester. So
It's funny. Their marketing department must be very heavy in like movie industry because I see Old Forester in movies.
Really?
Like, a lot.
really,
Yeah.
I haven't noticed, but
Just because it has a very distinctive label. So
that could be why.
Maybe.
Just because of the distinctive label.
yeah.
Or it's considered. Is it old movies?
No, I mean like new movies.
Really?
Yeah. What did Dove and I watch the other day? Actually, it wasn't a movie. It was a TV show. Three Body Problem.
Oh, I haven't seen that
Netflix.
yet.
Yeah, it's actually really good, by the way.
I've heard good things.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I've got a weird one for you. I got a bit of a mind fuck movie for you.
Okay.
Starry Eyed.
I have not even heard.
Oh, who's in that?
Young fledgling girl who's trying to do anything to become famous, and she finally gets a movie role where they ask her to do absolutely anything they ask,
Interesting.
and she kind of does, and it's been described as Lynch meets Cronenberg.
Oh, really?
Oh, I think I saw that article. Oh, I'm gonna have to check it out.
And although it doesn't really go full Cronenberg,
Does it go full Lynch?
it doesn't go full Lynch either, but I get the Lynch part because when you watch it, it's pretty fucked up.
Okay.
Starry Eyes.
Starry Eyed.
Eyed, yeah.
Yep, that's it. Starry Eyes.
Hungry Eyes. Eric Carmen just died not too long ago.
The lead in that, I've never seen her in anything else. I don't know what she's from, but she does a great job.
Alexandra Isso.
She's a little bit pathetic in the beginning, but the whole point is that by the end of the movie,
Ads.
she changes into something else.
Interesting. Oh God. Oh God.
Sorry.
What the hell are you doing?
Oh God.
Sorry.
We're doing ads. All right. We should probably
let's wrap
cut
this
and
up.
then. All right.
Anyway.
So, like, comment, subscribe, do everything.
Let us know
do the
whether you
things.
totally disagree and you think that Christine is the best movie ever made.
If you do, definitely comment. I'm
Yes.
very
I'd like to
intrigued.
hear
I'd
from
love
you.
to. I'd love to hear.
It's
the
not a
reasoning.
bad movie, but come on.
No, I thoroughly enjoyed the movie.
I did
just
too.
think paired up against Night Before Christmas,
No contest.
You did that on purpose.
Nightmare on Elm Street, it was no contest.
Thanks for coming, everybody.
Thank you.
Social media, so you know who the hell we are and how to find us. Comment, like, subscribe, and yell
Tell
at
your
us.
friends. Tell your friends.
Yeah, tell them too.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway,
Thank you very much.
love you.
Okay, bye.